Hello, 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 and welcome once again to Movies That Pop. I'm the Kernel. Let's see what popped up in theaters this week. Yes, after getting the frat house next door evicted, Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne now have to take on a bunch of party girls in Neighbors 2, a comedy sequel that goes the way of most comedy sequels. That is, being less funny than the original, but still manages to fit in enough laughs to justify the ticket price. Just barely, though. As a movie, it feels hastily assembled. A collection of sketches rather than a, narrative with characters driving the plot towards a logical conclusion. But hey, I laughed. You will too. And if there's nothing better to see this weekend... Oh, except it's summer, so there is, and you should. That's it for the capsule review. Let's get in depth. The first thing I want to say about Neighbors 2 is, thankfully, this is not one of those situations where they put all the funny jokes in the trailer. In fact, a lot, and I do mean a lot, of what is contained in the trailer is actually nowhere to be seen in the final film. Huge set pieces like Hannibal Buress' character riding a tank and crashing into a car, a cameo by LL Cool J. It all leads me to believe that this movie was constantly being reshaped, rewritten, and reshot multiple times. The evidence is there, even if you haven't seen the trailers, because characters are introduced hurriedly, and their motivations switch on a dime, and their sympathies, strategies, and biases all sort of fade in and out. As a movie, an honest-to-goodness narrative that makes sense with well-defined characters, it's sort of a mess. And yet, I laughed. And I laughed hard. And I laughed more or less consistently. Hannibal Buress is in the movie, albeit very briefly, and he is funny. Selena Gomez is in the movie. If you blink, you'll miss her. And her very presence hints at the fact that there was probably a bigger subplot for her that has been excised and is on the cutting room floor. LL Cool J doesn't cameo in the film at all, but another notable actor does in a very similar role, and that cameo is fun. It's all fun, so it's forgivable that it doesn't fully make sense. If nothing else, keep an eye out for the Blu-ray to come later this year. I've got to guess that there may be an Anchorman-style, completely alternate movie that could be assembled with all of the leftover jokes, ad-libs, and missing plot lines that were cut out of the original film.
You're tightening me on with your muscles right now.
Give me an A!
A!
Give me an N!
A!
Give me an A!
A!
Give me an L!
L!
What does that smell?
Never!
And what's left in the movie doesn't always work either. There is an undercurrent of social commentary that is sort of bungled with some odd date rape references that strike a strange note for a comedy.
And they're very tricky.
No, don't drink that!
I've been roofied, so if anyone's ever wanted to have sex with me, tonight's the night.
There are also attempts at progressive feminist ideology, and several characters get emotional catharses that the movie doesn't quite earn. There's a whole running gag about minions that falls flat every time, and a mildly funny running bit about a pink dildo that wears out its welcome pretty quickly. The conflict between the sorority and the family next door also unfolds in a much harsher way than in the first film. If you'll recall, things started out pretty civil and evenly matched with the frat, and escalated from there, with both sides crossing the line further and further. Here, Rogen's family has sold their house and are desperately trying to last just 30 teensy tiny little days till close of escrow before the new buyers get wind of the sorority moving in next door. This really accelerates the conflict between the neighbors because it's now very time sensitive and makes one side, the sorority, seem far more unreasonable than the other side right off the bat. The film then commits the sin of having the prospective buyers see the sorority, the one thing the protagonists have been trying the whole movie to prevent. It happens off screen, and we only find out about it later. This is the sign of multiple rewrites. They're just patching up the story, redirecting, and sending the plot in a new direction very quickly, and it doesn't quite work. So what does work? The jokes, man! These guys are improv comedy geniuses, and they still haven't lost the ability to spin laughs out of thin air. The comedic chemistry between Rose Byrne and Seth Rogen, or between Zac Efron and Seth Rogen, and really, between Zac Efron and everyone else. In fact, let's have an honest talk about Zac Efron for a second, okay? Because, like Channing Tatum before him, Here we have an actor that is just incredibly attractive. Okay, fine. He's really good looking, great body. All right, ladies, calm down. Then you find out they can dance. Oh man, whatever. That's another positive trait they didn't need, but okay. So they're really, really hot, and they can dance, and they're really talented, very attractive, and amazing bodies. They won the genetic lottery. Haha, okay, fine. Then you find out that they're also very, very funny with innate comedic timing. And I just gotta throw up my hands and say, all right, that's it. Life's just unfair. Show's over. Pack up and go home. Here we are between these Neighbors movies and to a lesser extent, Dirty Grandpa. Zac Efron is proving that yes, you really can be perfect. Congratulations, Zac. You jerk. Next you're gonna tell me he's a really nice guy. Ugh. Anyway, Zac Efron, that model of human perfection, is the real secret weapon of this movie because so much of the plot doesn't revolve around him so much as it always involves him. And he's great! He knows his strengths and he's willing to go for it. And for all those ladies who crave that eye candy, don't worry, old Zackie's gonna give you a real feast multiple times.
If we steal their stash, they won't be able to pay the rent.
What's the plan?
I'm gonna dance.
Just you dancing is enough to distract the entire sorority?
All in all, there are more hits than misses here. There's nothing here to make the case that Neighbors 2 should be the very first choice at the multiplex this weekend. And like I said, there's probably a whole vault of material that was cut, making the Blu-ray perhaps a better investment of your money. But if you're with a like-minded group of rowdy friends who don't care if the characters, plot, or message of the movie makes absolute sense or stays consistent, and especially if you're in one of those fancy pants theaters that will serve you alcohol while you watch a movie, then you will find at least a medium bag's worth of entertainment value in Neighbors 2. That does it for this edition of Movies That Pop. Don't forget to follow me, the Kernel, on Twitter @moviesthatpop, and click the icon right down there to visit our channel. You'll be able to view all of our other videos and more importantly, click subscribe so you can keep up with all the latest episodes and so we can keep doing what we do. Please leave your comments below and click the thumbs up if you like what you heard. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'm the Kernel, and won't you be my neighbor?